Pat Robertson has a segment on a show where people can, of course, call in and ask him or send in a question, and Pat Robertson, of course, will answer it on the air. Now, in this case, there was a woman who had asked a question about how do you reconcile the fact that God can kill children, certain children, and save others. Well, let's listen to that question and then listen to Pat's response.
A coworker confronted me in the break room and said she can't believe in a God who let her baby of 3 years old die, suffering a long battle in and out of hospitals while he heals other children. She asked me, why did God allow my baby to die? I told her that I didn't know why her child died, but God sees the whole picture. We see only in part. What else can I say?
Well, what you have to understand, I think, in the Old Testament, it was like God's responsible for everything. He brings out the bad, he brings out the good, he's responsible for everything. More and more in the New Testament era, we have come to realize that human beings have an agency, they have responsibility. And a lot of things happen because of what humans do.
Yeah.
I mean, people die in hospitals because of medical malpractice. Somebody cuts the wrong thing and somebody dies. It happens all the time. A nurse gives a patient the wrong medicine. Well, you going to blame that on God? That's not God. That's people who are making mistakes. Now, as far as God's concerned, he knows the end from the beginning, and he sees a little baby, and that little baby could grow up to be Adolf Hitler. He could grow up to be Joseph Stalin. He could grow up to be some serial killer, or he could go up to die of a hideous disease. God sees all that. And for that life to be terminated while he's a baby, he's going to be with God forever in heaven. So that isn't a bad thing. So how could God do that? How could a good God let that happen? Well, the good God is going to take that baby to heaven right now, and that isn't a bad thing.
Holy shit. There is so much wrong with that. I'm not even sure where to begin on this one. So he apparently, according to Pat Robertson and of course the Old Testament, God used to watch over the day-to-day affairs. You know, he used to get interested. It's like, oh, that happened. Okay, so I'm going to make a storm over here. I'm going to destroy this town. I'm going to kill these gay people over here. And then I'm going to have a rainbow over here after the gay people, ironically, and the storm. Then I'm going to cause this earthquake over here. So I got a busy day being God. So, okay. So apparently he got tired of that by the time of the first, the New Testament, right? I was going to say First Amendment or First something. He got tired of that by the New Testament. And it's like, man, this is like becoming a chore. This sucks, according to Pat Robertson. So now it's whatever, if anything bad happens, it's people. But God knows about it because he knows everything that's going to happen. So I guess that explains in his world why there was he let a Hitler get born. But then again, Pat Robertson also says, well, that kid could have been a Hitler, so that's why God killed him before he could become a Hitler. But wouldn't the I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around this, to be honest with you. Wouldn't the easy answer be to not have Hitler at all? To have not had a Hitler? Instead of saving people from future Hitlers? Instead of, you could have just not had a Hitler in the first place. I don't understand. Like, Pat, you're all over the board on this one. I don't know where to go here. Look, man, it's ridiculous to think. And the question's a good question. And the person who asked has a very valid question of how could a God let a 3-year-old die while another person, while he heals other children? Well, that's simple. The answer is simple. There is no God. And people look at me, oh my God, that's controversial. No, it's not. It's based on facts. If you follow the logic, right? If you follow the whole logic here, either God doesn't exist or he's a sociopath that gives kids bone cancer. When you follow that logic, that's what you come up to. Bad things happen to good people. Well, it shouldn't happen, right? If God was loving and all-knowing and everything. But now Pat Robertson says, yeah, but it's a good thing he went to heaven. Well, he must have already known that kid was going to go to heaven. But if he was going to be the next Hitler, then you would think that he was damned right from the beginning. It blows my mind. How many mental hoops do you have to go through to believe in this stuff? My mind is pretzeled just trying to understand what he's trying to say. So he could have been possibly the next Hitler, so that's why God killed him and brought him to heaven. But wait, does that mean Hitler would be in heaven too? Or Stalin or Mao? It makes no sense. It breaks my fucking brain.